Hello and welcome to another edition of Guide to Youth with Ray Hoff. On today's show, we are going to talk about going on your first date, how to get asked out, specifically how to ask a girl out. We're doing this for the 13 to 21-year-old crowd, my favorite group of people who are now going through one of the most formative time in their lives. We're here on Guide to Youth to help them through this formative time and to help them navigate through this crazy world that we live in and get through to adulthood in a constructive way. On the show with me is Dr. Z. And hello, Dr. Z.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm so glad you could join us. This evening we're talking about first dates. How to get asked out, specifically how to get a girl to go out with you. And so Dr. Z, when you were in high school, how did you ask a girl out?
I didn't get asked out a lot. I didn't ask out a lot of girls in high school, actually. It was kind of the opposite way around. But I would highly recommend saying hello and planning something fun or just a small get-together kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Are you saying that you never had to ask a girl out, that they asked you out?
I'm a very lucky guy.
You're a very lucky guy, and you were asked out a lot. Did you date women in other grades besides your grade, or did you stick pretty much to the same age group?
Actually, it was mostly juniors and seniors when I was a freshman and sophomore. So yeah, it was, I guess I dated older women at the time.
You know, at that age, a 2 to 3 year age difference is huge, and the maturity level, especially between girls and boys, is very marked when they are in high school. So you must have been a very mature person to appeal to the, as we call them, older women in the higher grades. That's something I didn't know about you, but it's good to know, Dr. Z. Probably one of the things that you're wondering is, when you go out on a date, where do you go? What type of dates would be fun, and where you should go? And we have for you later in the show a list of some interesting ideas for going on a date so that you don't have to go to a dinner and a movie. However, you know, a lot of us live in very rural areas, and there are not a lot of options besides a dinner and a movie. And, you know, it's okay to do that, but if you do have other forms of entertainment, then you should definitely consider them. With technology being so integrated into our daily lives, and with so much use of our cellular phones, what is the etiquette if you would like to ask a girl out over text? Is it okay to ask a girl out using text, and how exactly should that be done? What do you think, Dr. Z? Is it all right for someone to ask a girl out over text? This is assuming, of course, that they know each other well enough where they have exchanged cell phone numbers and are already communicating using text.
Yeah, they didn't have that kind of stuff when I was in high school. Wow. But yeah, absolutely. You know, make sure you build a little bit of rapport, and then definitely, I don't think once you have that, it should be really easy to make a plan to get together. But definitely have a plan on you know, good suggestion on something to do, and then go from there. I think, but nowadays watching a movie like Netflix or something like that is always a good something light. But that's assuming that you know each other. Otherwise, you probably want to do something where it's away from home and just kind of chit-chatting, you know, someplace that's not someplace like the library or something like that.
or the library where you have to always be quiet and mind what you're saying. I think if a girl knows that you like her and you've been flirting a bit, then I think it's okay to go ahead and ask her out by text. A lot of times, girls and boys, they hang out in groups, and if you actually want to talk to somebody in private, it's very difficult because they're always surrounded by their friends, and their friends stick to them like glue, and you cannot get a private moment with this person to ask them out. And sometimes, of course, the phone is the only option, but I think I would recommend calling her instead of texting her. A call is much more personal and shows that you actually care. You start off your conversation, with some casual banter, and then you just ask her out. But I guess text is okay too. A lot of people are more comfortable with texting than they are with calling someone on the phone. I know that in the past few years, my minutes on my cell phone plan have decreased from like 1,200 minutes every month to less than 500 minutes every month, because we are using our cell phones less and less for conversation and more for connecting online and for texting, whether it is SMS and MMS. So if her friends are a barrier that you have to overcome, and if you can't deal with her directly, then it's probably okay to go ahead and text her. Now, conversely, is it cowardly to back down just because her friends are on the way? So sure, her friends could be like a grade A pain, but do you have to deal with it by avoiding her friends? I guess it just depends on your personality. If you have the type of personality that could, just in a friendly way realize that her friends are probably insecure, and know how to get around that, then you should probably ask her out in person and not by text. And if she likes you a lot, and if you've already established a connection in real life, and if she knows that you want to go out with her, that's probably going to be okay. Don't you think so? I don't think texting that has the same stigma that it used to have in the past, and it's probably an okay thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's become more of a mainstream form of communication, like you were saying. Everybody's cell phone voice notes are dropping, but their text rates are skyrocketing. You'll hear about the dad that his daughter had 1,000 text messages over her limit, and it adds up. So yeah, you're absolutely right, and it's a great viable communication source now, communication channel.
Yeah. When I was younger, I went on my first date with someone, with a man who was a boy who was shorter than me. He was a horse jockey, and I liked him very much, but we were the same height basically. So for the first time in my life, I wore tennis shoes so that I could be the same height as he was, and not be taller than him. So, first dates are very important, and we all have our own particular stories about first dates. How about you, Dr. Z? How was your first date?
Oh, my first date. Oh my goodness. I think that was like back then. I think the skating rink was a big deal, and so I think we just ended up meeting at the skating rink back in the day, and so that was you wouldn't have enough money to buy buy her a beverage, and maybe some popcorn or nacho. I think nachos was a big thing back then. That, and then just skate around and chat and play video games. So, yeah, good time.
So you met at the skating ring, and that was your date. You did not go to her house to pick her up.
Oh, not for a first date. No. We were young. Neither of us had cars, that kind of stuff. I mean, I think that was probably 5th or 6th grade. You know what I mean? A little bit younger than high school, middle school, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
I see.
So
Wow.
Kind of stuff. So yeah.
Goodness, you went on I guess dates before high school. It seems to me that those things are a lot of fun. But on the other hand, should a person date if they're not ready to get married? I mean, is it hypocritical to ask young people to not go out on dates until they're ready to get married? What is the point of dating?
Yeah, I think that's actually I think that's a good point. That it's a very important thing as a social development, social skills and that kind of thing to be out, because a lot of times if people are homeschooled or their home life is them, the parents, and then they go to school and come back home. So they don't have a whole lot of social interaction except for at school and stuff like that. So it's really important to open their horizons and let them, learn new things. Things that that would sometimes be unsupervised, but have to be learned, and social skills and things like that. Or with that kind of stuff. So yeah, definitely. I don't think you don't wait to date till you're married. You want to get married because by then it may be too late. You might not have the skills that you need by the time you want to get married.
Yeah, I see. So these dates are not necessarily for the purpose of finding someone to marry, but they're just to go out, have fun, and develop social skills.
Absolutely. Marriage is a big deal, and I think that it's not something you want to take lightly. So, but I think kids are growing up younger and younger. Grow up sooner than back in the day, and they have a lot more freedoms and things like that we didn't have when we were kids. And so it's really important to have that social manner, because marriage is really important, and you don't want to be lacking the skills of social development and things like that when you are ready to get married.
Definitely, yeah. So these dates, with that said, these dates being social events, it's probably okay to not do dinner and the movies. It's probably okay to do some other stuff that may be just as fun, and where you can interact socially and have a good time. So I have my list of top 10 ideal dates which do not involve a dinner and a movie. Actually, they're in top 9, because dinner and a movie is still the number one way to the number one thing to do while you're on a date. But I think because I'm a winter person, I like snow, I like ice, I like skiing. I always thought that a first date would be fun to go on a first date at an ice skating rink. And ice skating is available obviously just in the winter in major cities. Smaller towns, they don't have ice skating rinks unless they're up north, on the 45 to 46 latitude. But I always thought it makes my list of favorite first date ideas. It's a great first date, even if she or he don't know how to skate, because you get to hold hands as you help each other stay on your feet, and it's fun to spend an afternoon outside and get to know each other in a public setting where you can have a lot of fun. So to me, after dinner and a movie, ice skating is my favorite first date. There's also another opportunity to play tourist. Here in Arkansas, we have a lot of tourist attractions, and sometimes we take our hometowns for granted. You think about it, every year people travel to our cities on vacation. And, it might be fun to see your hometown from a tourist perspective. Check out the local visitor center, tourism office, and see what type of guides and information they have for tourists. And then take that on a date and have a touristy excursion around your own hometown to see the city from a different perspective. Then there's always the option of going to a local music show. Remember that conversation is not always the most important part of a first date. However, if you want to have a lot of conversation, a local music show might not be the best idea because it's going to be loud and dark, and you're not going to be focused on listening to each other. But if you want to sit down somewhere and talk and listen to each other, perhaps go to a local art gallery. It's a great first date for those people that are into the arts. And it wouldn't be a bad idea to do a little research on the exhibit beforehand, not because it's great to seem that you have a little knowledge about it, but also because you don't want to accidentally take the person to a type of art gallery where she wouldn't feel comfortable. Some of modern art is very graphic and industrial, and you don't want to take your date to an exhibit of meat processing plants or the atrocities of war. So it's important to always research the art gallery where you will be going to ensure that it's appropriate for a first date. Taking your date to a driving range is another fun outdoors activity. It's not particularly strenuous, and you can have a good time during the day if you don't want to go out at night. Even if you're not a golfer, helping her with her swing is a great opportunity to get up close and personal. And if you're both golfers, then it's an opportunity to have some playful competition. Another great date idea is the theater. This is one of my favorites because I like live performances. And, along with the theater, you can also go to the opera or the symphony if that's available in your town. In some bigger cities, they have aquariums, and aquariums aren't just for fourth grade field trips. They can also make a great place for a first date, sort of like a live art exhibit. And then, of course, one of my favorite ways to spend a first date is hiking. This is not for the high-maintenance girl that, likes to sip martinis and has perfectly manicured nails. This would be perfect for the girl you met at the local pub, or someone that is athletic and would enjoy the great outdoors, scaling the mountains and the rocks and going through wooded paths with you. It's great exercise and a great way to get to know each other. Last but not least, a great way to spend an evening is to go bowling. This is an old school date idea with a great casual vibe, but I think if you're old enough to drink, you can have a beer or a slice of pizza. And if you're not, then just enjoy the music and the competitive atmosphere of the bowling alley. And those are my top 10 ideas for a great first date. And all these dates sound like a lot of fun, but you will need some money. And I was just wondering, how much should one save? How much money does it cost to go on a first date? How much money does one need? So after looking around, I think that probably a good amount is $50. No matter what you end up doing, you can probably get through with $50. What do you think, Dr. Aziz?
Absolutely. I think you can definitely get by with $50. Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you go out to the movies, the tickets are probably about $30, and that leaves you 24 snacks. And if you don't have $50, you can always sneak in some food and drinks. Is that wrong? Yes.
Good time.
Most movie theaters would not appreciate this advice. That's it for today's show. This is Reha and Dr. Z wishing you a wonderful weekend. Until next time, be good.